Before I present Ben to you, I'm going to open the floor to Barb Worsang, who is the Education Director at the Hippodrome Foundation. Thank you, Barb.
Great. Thank you all so much. We are super excited to be here and to bring Ben Lipitz into your homes today. Just want to say, as a community partner and a parent, I congratulate all the educators today. It has been a challenge, and you all are being so flexible and handling the process so very well. So congratulations to all of you. Also, thank you to our performers who are stepping up today to kind of work through the process with us. And if you are interested, I'm Barb W. at hippodromefoundation.org. Not knowing what the fall will look like, we would be happy to try and work to put Ben Lipitz into any of your classrooms come fall. So without further ado, I give you Ben Lipitz. Thank you all very much.
There we go. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Ben Lipitz. I'm thrilled to be with you here today and do a little bit of acting and song exercise work. The way we're going to work today will be an abbreviated version of what would be a normal masterclass, just given the time constraint we have. We want to make sure that we get to our performers. It's not just to perform, but receive feedback and then come back to the material after the feedback. We will start with a light warm-up, followed by a brief acting exercise, then we'll get into our performances. So wherever you are, if you're in a chair, you want to stand up on the floor. Our feet kind of shoulder width apart underneath us, just so that we're grounded on the floor nice and easily. And we're just going to start by loosening up and just being present in the space. We want to do some shoulder rolls. Shoulders rolling back, just kind of loosening up our upper body and then bring them forward. We're going to bring our head down and do a slow neck roll. Trying to get to all those points as much as we can as we roll around in a slow circle. Just a way of loosening up our body and being present in the space where we are, and then just reverse. If you're feeling any residual tension in your neck or shoulders, roll forward, and then just shake out your arms in front of you, to the side. If you have space above you, stretch them out, shake them up, reach those arms up nice and tall, as if there's strings going from your hands all the way up to the ceiling, looking up, stretching one side of the body, stretching the left side, the right side, the left side. And that string is keeping your hands pulled up nice and high. And then as if the string cuts just your hands, you feel your hands drop. String to the elbows. String to the whole arm. Still feeling nice and tall. And then slowly we're going to lower our chin to our chest. And I might drop out of camera, but we're going to slowly roll down our spine, rolling vertebrae by vertebrae until we release. And you just want to pulse at the floor a little bit as you're curled over, stretching out that back, and then slowly stacking back up. Trying to get all those vertebrae one at a time. Bring your head up to a nice floating position. And then you want to just lift one leg at a time. Kind of like you're marching in place. Do a little bit of a circle, bringing that knee out to the side so you wake up your hips. And then just shake out. Roll your body around, feel loose. And that's about all we're going to do to warm up. Normally we could take more time specifically working longer with each body part, more in depth, but we're just loosening up to feel present and nice and lightly warmed up. You've completed that. Take a seat in your chair. Want the chair to be supporting you, so you're nice and relaxed in the chair. And we will move into an acting exercise. This is a sense memory exercise in which we are going to imagine a morning ritual, the first drink that you have every day, whether it's a cup of coffee, a glass of juice, a glass of water. We're going to spend a few minutes recreating the idea and the experience of that beverage that you have every day, something very familiar in your life. And through this sense memory exercise, we'll explore, we'll do this individually on your own, obviously, we'll explore creating the sensation of it. I'm going to try and toggle my view so I can see everybody. Great, I think that's good. Great, so sitting comfortably in your chair, you will close your eyes, and I want you to imagine in front of you your morning beverage, cup of coffee, glass of juice, glass of water, soda, whatever it is. I want you to use your imagination to visually see it with your eyes closed. And it's sitting in front of you on a countertop or a table. Try to make it as specific as you can. The color of the mug or the glass, the beverage itself. Don't worry so much about the area in which you see it, but specify as much as you can on that beverage. As you see it in your mind's eye, reach out with one or both hands, however you want to hold it, and see yourself picking it up and taking it in your hands. Now, you have to leave room for it to exist. If it's the ring of a mug and you're only grasping the ring, you don't want to be touching your thumb to your finger, because that's not allowing space for the actual mug to exist, the ring that you're holding it. So you want to hold this as if it's real in your hands. With your eyes closed, you're imagining this. You're seeing the beverage in your hands. And you bring it closer to you, to a place where you're comfortable, and you're looking down at it. You're seeing the mug or the glass, and try and switch it from hand to hand. It's not so much a mind activity as it is exploring the experience of it really existing as if it were really there. The magic words in sense memory and theater and acting is as if. We're not really doing it, we're doing it as if it were there. And you turn it around in your hand, and you see the other side of it. And you lift it up and look at the bottom of the glass or the mug or the can or the bottle. We spend time exploring all the ways we can experience it. We can experience it through sight, through touch, through sound, through taste. Sometimes we can hear it. If it's a carbonated beverage, you can bring it to your ear as if you could hear the fizz and the pop of the bubbles as they're coming to the top of the liquid. As you take it in front of you, changing it to one hand, and you then start to imagine and experience the temperature. Is it a warm mug, cold glass? Is there condensation on the side? Think of all the ways specifically we can explore the actual sensation of it. If it's warm, and we bring it up under our nose and mouth, and we smell it. It's about exploring the specificity of the experience. If it's a glass and it's got liquid in it, is it translucent? Is it opaque? Can you imagine light coming through it? Does the color change as you move it around, looking at it through light? Again, this is all eyes closed, just concentrating on imagining and visualizing this as if it's really in your hand. Can you feel the cold temperature, the warm temperature? As you move it from hand to hand, is there any moisture on the outside? With your free hand, can you pass over the top? And if there's heat, can you feel the heat rising from it? Again, it's all about exploration. And in a normal class situation with more time, we could take more time to experience and explore, sitting and standing, setting it down, still visualizing it, and re-engaging and picking it up. How does the heat feel on the underside, the tender part of our forearm versus the back of our hand? It's an infinite way of exploring. And then still with our eyes closed, we bring the beverage closer to our mouths. Can you feel your lips engage it? And what's happening as you smell the beverage as it comes close to your mouth? And then very ever so gently, using your tongue just on the liquid, can you just taste it on the tip of your tongue? The way to explore it is infinite. There's so many ways to do it. For now, we're going to just take a sip and imagine that first sip of that beverage you have every day as it hits your tongue and your mouth, and you swallow it. It's that experience. So it's less about mine and more about the exploration, the specificity. As we work as actors, we want to bring this type of specificity to every choice we make, whether it's script analysis, whether it's sense memory to deepen an emotional connection or a physical manifestation. Rehearsal is a time to explore all the possibilities that you can that serve the text. But we want to develop a tool set that allows us to always be exploring specifically as possible. Can you taste the beverage? Hold it away. Can you see it in your hands with your eyes open? Do you lose the vision of it if you open your eyes? If you lose the vision, just close your eyes and reimagine it. Let's see if you can explore the experience of it with your eyes open. Holding it away, maybe looking away from it and looking back. And again, if you lose the visualization, just close your eyes and reimagine it as best you can. Another sip. How does it feel across your lips, in your mouth, as you swallow it, as you smell it? And then we'll set it down again in front of us. Let it go. Take note about your hands and how they feel. Do you have the sensation of having held something in your hands? How strong was your connection? Take note if you were able to see it if you and when you opened your eyes. And just take note of the experience. And then just shake out your hands and open your eyes and relax. And before we move to performances, I want to see if we get a little feedback from everyone or from anyone who wants to share. If you have any comment, unmute your mic and offer an observation of the exercise. Again, remembering this isn't a very abbreviated version of it. We'll spend more time really exploring and deepening that process. What did you feel? What did you see? What was your experience? Anyone have any comment? Any commentary? Any idea?
Mine was orange juice. I just adore orange juice, and this just intoxicating for me. So I was in the smell, and it actually made me thirsty. I reached you finished, so definitely.
So that exploration process was valuable for you. Good. Anyone else? It is mindful and meditative. It's an absolutely great relaxation exercise that provides us a window into sense memory. You can build, there's a series of exercises that can be taught, leading from a beverage to a morning routine, such as brushing your teeth or shaving or putting on your makeup. These exercises are based on things that we do in an everyday setting, so that we're already familiar with them, so that we're not creating an imaginative process, but trying to recreate something that we do every day. It does help you focus, absolutely. It's all meant to build a strong foundation in focus, relaxation, and visualization connection, which we can bring to our text. We can use these exercises. And as I said, it's a progression from a morning ritual to activity, to then we grow out of physical recreation, physical sense memory, to emotional sense memory, where we focus on physical objects or an overall feeling. Sometimes we work on exercises where we have the overall feeling of being in the ocean and feeling the weight, the gravity of the water, and how difficult it is to move through an ocean or through snow or through wet leaves. Our imaginations are unlimited, and therefore the exercises are unlimited. The idea is to build that kind of specificity in the exploration, no matter how we grow in this memory work. Does anyone else have an idea or a commentary about what we just did, what they experienced?
I would just say it's a very good exercise, regardless of what action you're doing, of breaking it down into those minute little parts and seeing sort of the individual details, and then sort of bringing it all together and compiling them together. So that was really interesting, just as you described, the texture of the cup and the smell and the temperature and all those things. So I drink coffee every day, and I don't really think about those things. It becomes second nature. So that was very helpful.
Great. I'm glad to hear it was a positive experience. That's why we do things at the beginning with this exercise work that allow us to recreate something that we're already familiar with, so we're not filling in blanks with an imagination that can lead us down a blind alley to a path that's not helpful. But the specificity, the relaxation, these are all designed to kind of help focus the acting instrument. Great. As we're moving through our schedule, and again, in a normal class situation or even in a longer Zoom session, we can take more time and really go through some detailed coaching specifically. So whether we go forward or if this is an exercise that you want to investigate more and bring back to your students, just remember that you plan on spending more time than we have today. With that, Lily, and I'll ask you to introduce our first guest performer.
Thank you, Ben. So yes, today we have 3 performers. Coming up first will be Angela Germanos from Arundel County. Angela, can you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Okay, hello, I'm Angela Germanos. I teach theater at Severna Park High School near Annapolis, Maryland. And
Angela, can you turn on your video?
oh goodness, sorry about that. You're off, Angela.
I'm able to see it now. Ben, can you see that okay? Oh,
So
it's going in and
is it
out.
on now?
It's on right now. It's on right now. Ben, are you able to see it okay?
I only have me.
So that might be your layout that you might need to adjust again. Sorry about that. And that's actually a good point. When each performer presents, you might see a pin if you hover over their face. And I definitely recommend pinning them as they perform, so we kind of spotlight that person. Additionally, and I'm sure Ben will remind you of this, as each person is performing, we ask that everyone turns off their camera, again, just to help us focus on each performer. Okay.
Learning curve of Google and Zoom. Great. Angela, let me ask you first, was there something specifically about this piece that spoke to you, why you chose it?
Yes, I have always thought of this musical as making a statement about racism. They have to be carefully taught, and that issue with the recent current events, I just, also I'm a French teacher, but I thought it might be interesting to explore it. And actually there's 2 verses of it, and I had planned to present the first verse as if I were one of the children that didn't even know Nellie had these racist thoughts about their heritage and just innocent. And then in the second time I sing the second verse, I was going to imagine seeing an act of racism similar to George Floyd and making the words count for explain to us how is life beautiful and how is it happy.
Okay.
So,
Then this is wonderful. I'll leave it in your hands. Just start whenever you're ready and comfortable. Great, very well done. Very well done. Does the song vocal track on it?
does it have the whole? That was the full track I chose. I knew we were supposed to stick to a minute and a half at the most. So.
Oh, I don't mind the time. I'm asking, was there a vocalist singing, or was that all you?
That was me.
Okay, great. The music, it was very hard. The music was very loud. Is it playing on your computer that you're using?
The volume was at 70%. I guess I should have turned it down.
That's okay. It's on the same device. That's why it felt so present. But it was hard. It was easier to hear the music than your voice. But very connected and really, really, really well done. I want to come another time, both verses. And I really love the choice that you've made to present it with the innocence, and then with a different choice in the second verse, one that's very powerful. Given the same idea of the exploration that we did a moment ago, applying that and hopefully maybe taking it a really big step forward. In the second verse, really allow yourself to be present in that moment. And if there's an emotional response, don't be afraid to let that emotion out. I would rather you sacrifice the ability to sing or the lyric and allow that expression, that emotional reaction to happen. There were a few things that I saw where I felt like you were trying to hold that back. And The whole point of the work that we do is to expose that vulnerability so that our audience experiences it and feels it and reflects it in themselves. So don't be afraid of when that emotional breakthrough is feeling underneath. Try and breathe into it and try and really let it out if you can.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Take a moment to really think about it and just put yourself first in a place of innocence, and even if it's the innocent unknowingness of a child seeing something they don't understand. You could be viewing the same incident from two different perspectives, which will allow you to experience the same thing that you're creating in your head from two different places.
Okay.
So really take a moment to imagine whatever it is that you're using in the second verse, that fearful, kind of terrifying experience that you're commenting on, that you're singing about, that you're letting the emotion out through. Really take a moment to see that before you begin, and then cover that all up until you can let it out on the second verse.
Sounds good.
Covering is the innocence.
Am I doing it again?
Like you to, please.
Oh, okay. Oh, dear. I hope I can exit out here. Let me find it again.
No, that's fine. Take your time. We're good.
Instrument. Okay. And I'll turn down the volume.
This way we can hear more of you and less of the music.
Okay. I also had it near the... Okay. Doesn't look like that one. Oh, there it is.
Take a breath or two when you start. Really try and envision it the same way you do.
La vie est belle, dites-moi pourquoi la vie est gaie, dites-moi pourquoi Germanos vous m'avez. Dites-moi pourquoi la vie est belle. Dites-moi pourquoi la vie est gaie. Dites-moi pourquoi je m'appelle à ce que parce que vous m'aimez.
Really well done. Really well done. How does that feel in what you prepared and what we uncovered?
Yeah, that felt a little more like I was allowing myself to be more upset. Because if
Yeah.
I just watched what horrible thing happened, I would be like horrified. I couldn't imagine my eyes.
Whether it's a terrible experience or a joyful experience, we have to give ourselves permission to really take that deep dive into it and not be afraid of it. That's the whole point of it. Really, really, really wonderful, brave work. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick before we wrap up with you, tell me the translation of the song so that everyone who is listening might have a better understanding if they don't. I know the song from the show, and certainly you know the French, but I'd love you to explain the English translation.
Right, it says, tell me why life is beautiful. Tell me why life is happy. Tell me why, dear miss. Is it because you like me, you love me? It can be either translation.
Right. It's really powerful when we take it through the second filter of having to see something so terrible. Really, really great choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lillian?
Thank you, Angela. That was awesome. We definitely could see the emotion so much, and I really appreciate you translating it for me, especially that last line with the double meaning. That wasn't something I was familiar with, so thank you so much for sharing. Up next, we have Leigh Catterton. Leigh will be performing a monologue from Taming of the Shrew. Leigh, if you can unmute and tell us more. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Hi, everyone. My name's Leigh Catterton, and I'm from Anne Arundel County Public Schools, like Angela. I'm an arts and humanities teacher in Pasadena, and the character that I am acting a monologue from is Catterton, or Kate, from William Shakespeare's King of the Shrew. And I think William Shakespeare plays are so diverse and so funny, sad, tragic, and all of those things rolled into one. This character in particular, she was kind of forced into this marriage, and she's married to an equally hot-headed man. She's very hot-headed. She's very stubborn. She's kind of talking to herself at first, and then her newly wed husband's kind of footman, he comes in and she tries to butter him up for some food because her husband, Petruchio, thinks he can break her spirit by not feeding her for a couple days. So she's not in the best mood for a newly.
That's great. Please, whenever you're ready.
Okay. The more my wrong, the more his spite appears. What? Did he marry me to famish me? I, who never knew how to entreat, nor never needed that I should entreat. I'm starved for meat, giddy for lack of sleep. With oath kept waking and with brawling fed, and that which spites me more than all these wants, he does it under the name of perfect love. As who should say if I should eat or sleep? I prithee, Romeo, go and get me some repast. I care not what, so it be wholesome food. 'Tis passing good. I prithee, let me have it. Finny.
Very well done. Leigh, let me ask you to do something because you definitely know exactly the beats and understanding, and especially the difficulty of it being in verse. I want to take you away from that for a second. And could you, in modern language, go through that monologue, but not in Shakespeare's verse, as if it were your own, your own speech?
Sure, I'll give it a go. No matter what I do, nothing that I do is pleasing to him. I can't believe he is doing this to me. No food, no drink, until I tell him what he wants to hear. And he doesn't care. And everything that I do, he says, it's for your own benefit, wifey. And you know what? He doesn't even let me eat. Despite not letting me to eat. Oh, Romeo. Hey, I would really love a burger. You don't even need to put any mustard on it or no bun. I'll just take the burger. Anything. Yes, some bread would be great.
Great. in your experience, how much more comfortable were you the second time you did that versus the first time with the weight of the language?
That's a great question. I think the weight of the language is, well, it's 400 years old weighted. The language is often a barrier, and I think that's why some people aren't interested as much, maybe, as when I was a teenager with Shakespeare. I think the language is beautiful, but it is deeply weighted. I think the second time it was much more easy because that's how we're used to communicating.
And that's what I want us to try this third time through. You're going to go back to the Shakespearean dialect, to the verse, but I want you to keep that lightness, and don't worry about the iambic, don't worry about the verse, don't worry about the idea of what you rehearsed. It should still feel stream of conscious, lighthearted. That's the beauty of Shakespeare. It's so universal that it's timeless even 400 years later if we give ourselves, if we can kind of de-romanticize the weight of the language and the idea of it. It's so important. It's exactly what you did that second time. It's just dialogue, and it's consciousness. So give it that same kind of lightness this time through, and see if we can't touch on that. If we can bring those two together, it's really, really well done.
Thank you. The more my wrong, the more his spite appears. What? Did he marry me to famish me? I, who never knew how to entreat, nor never needed that I should entreat. I'm starved for me, giddy for a lack of sleep. With oath kept waking, and with brawling fit, and that which spites me more than all these want, he does it in the name of perfect love. As who should say if I should sleep or eat? I prithee, Grumio, go and get me some of that. I care not what, though it be wholesome food. 'Tis passing good. I prithee, let me have it. The end.
In the text, you talk about how giddy you are from a lack of sleep. And in the second time, when you saw Grumio, we knew exactly, oh, you lit up that you saw him. The language is taking you away from that emotional connection. So as you go forward, really work toward the emotional availability that you had when you translated it into our language. Keep that same emotional availability, because when you did it as yourself, when you saw Grumio, you were like, Grumio, you let yourself relax, like, hey, you're my blood. The language kind of keeps us a little distant, and the whole idea is to bring it in as close as possible. Really great work.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben, so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Well done.
Thanks.
That was great. Thank you so much, Leigh.
Thank you, Lillian.
So up next is our final performer for today, Ryan Gholson from Baltimore City Public Schools. Ryan will be performing Mean Old Lion from The Wiz. So Ryan, when you're ready.
All right. She said, Ryan, Baltimore City Public School. I teach general music on the elementary level. I'm a hometown guy. I'm from Baltimore, went to school in Baltimore County, actually. So life has just been so heavy lately. So much going on in the world. And I chose this song because this character just makes me smile. He makes me laugh. And this song just kind of brings joy to my heart. So this is Mean Old Lion. Say what you want, but I'm here to stay, 'cause I'm a mean old lion. You can go where you want, Oh, don't get in my way. I'm a mean old lion. You'll be standing in a trap if you don't hear me laugh. But if you happen to come around, better hope that I don't frown. 'Cause I just might knock you down. I'm a mean old lion. You know I'm ready this night. I'll turn your day into night. I'm a mean old lion. And if you happen right, you'll be told to the right. I'm a mean old lion. All you strangers better beware. It's the king of the jungle. And if I happen to let you slide, don't just stand there, run and hide. Oh, you caught my better side, baby. I'm a mean old lion. I'm a mean old lion.
Oh, that was amazing. Okay, Ryan, I rarely ever do this. I wouldn't want to work on that. That's flawless.
Wow.
I would, as you work on it more, just knowing that he's the cowardly lion,
Mm-hmm.
I would try and find places where we can show that vulnerability and that we're covering up some fear, because it's fantastic and it's a great way to end the session, because it's such, you're right, it makes you feel good, having to help us smile and laugh. It's wonderful, and your performance is brilliant. The things where you were like crimping yourself a little bit, that could come from a place of, as opposed to vanity, it could come from, am I okay? Giving us a hint of maybe he's not as confident as he appears.
Okay.
Just kind of give it another dimension. But I'm just short of wanting to see it again because it was so wonderful. That was wonderful work. Really well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's very kind. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ryan and Leigh and Angie, for these performances. Lillian, I'm going to see if we can shift. We have a couple of minutes for anyone that has some questions, a brief Q&A. Any questions about my work, my training, my career, show business? We're going to leave it limited to that. I can't talk about anything outside of that. No politics.
I have a question. So the feedback process we just saw, would you suggest giving feedback to students in the exact same way? Would that process change depending on the age? I'm thinking of ways they can incorporate this back into the classroom.
I tend to like this model of immediately doing the work so it reinforces the lesson that we're trying to impart and share with them. Especially when you're working within a curriculum, connecting it to whatever curriculum you're working within, that immediate feedback, especially if you can tie it into your curriculum and broaden the lesson, is always so reinforcing and positive. That's why I think it's a powerful thing. I wouldn't redo work with younger children, with younger students. I think just getting them to perform once and offering encouragement and then going back and coming back another time, I think their thinking process and their ability to adapt, I think generally needs more time. But as we get older, once we start getting into like 12 and 13, I don't think there's anything from that age and up. I don't think there's, I think it's really reinforcing to do it in the moment so that they can feel the success and feel the change from what they may have rehearsed and sometimes over-rehearsed and prepared, that they're locked in, and breaking them out of that habit before it reinforces bad actor habits and getting them to be more expressive. So that's why I like that, the format of reworking it right away after some coaching.
I see that. Thank you. We have
Sure.
a question from Carrie that I saw in the chat. Carrie asks, how have you and your Broadway colleagues been during the shutdown?
It's incredibly difficult for us. I will grant you. I know I feel like a broken clock. I don't feel right unless I'm working at 7:30, 8 o'clock every night. It's been while it's been remarkable to be home with my family, which is time I haven't been able to spend with them like this in a very long time. Most of my friends and colleagues are feeling. We're definitely antsy. I know there's been a huge movement to concert and play readings and things online to express creativity and to fundraise and bring attention to so many important issues. But everyone's excited, and everyone really believes it's only intermission. We're waiting to come back for a stronger, better second act.
Well said, and I love the metaphor. We have a comment from Barb just reminding us all that you can bring Ben virtually into your classroom in the fall. Barb left the email address. If you're interested, please reach out. And we have a question from Stacy. Stacy asks, how can the teacher learn to give such on-point feedback? Do you have any resources?
I don't have free courses. I teach in the classroom. This is a new format for me. There are a host of much more influential and probably better communicators than me who do free material and free resources. I'm sure if you Google it, the material that I'm using is based on Stanislavski exercises. Just doing any research into acting or taking part in a class like this in workshops and bringing that back to your classroom is, I think, the best way to get the experience and bring it back to your classrooms. I think especially for actors, we're never out of class, we're never out of studio. It's a lifelong process. So experience as many workshops as you can and find what works for you. There is no one right way. Take what speaks to you and go forward that way.
Thank you. I will plug in our Embrace panel discussion series, where in a few weeks we will have a panel full of theater educators and professionals who will be discussing ways that you can engage your classroom virtually or more so in the upcoming school year, just considering COVID-19 and the response to that. So that is on our website, msdfinearts.org. Please sign up. It's free and it will be recorded and archived. Okay, we have time for one last question. It's from Emma. Emma asks, can you talk a bit about your transition from acting training to professional acting? How do you think this transition can be made more accessible to underprivileged groups? It's a great question.
That's a great question. I don't know that I ever had a transition from acting experience to professional. I was really fortunate at a very young age. I knew what I wanted to do, and pretty much through even the bug bit for me in elementary school. So I performed in plays and musicals through middle school and high school. I went to college for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting at California Institute of the Arts. For me, it was always, my journey was always toward professional theater and acting, whether it's theater, film, or television, but I always wanted to be a performing artist. So I don't know that there was a transition, but it was built on learning as much as I could from as many sources as I could. I have to this day, 40 years later, I still have great relationships with my high school teachers and college instructors who were at one time my teachers and mentors and have later since become my friends, because I value what they instilled in me, which was a passion to continue to learn. And specifically as an actor, as an artist, I believe in creating theater with a capital T, the kind of theater that can really change someone's life or create a conversation that might not have existed before. And whether it's in a professional setting, a teaching setting, or just goofing around, I try to find a way that theater, how does theater influence our lives, and how can we make our lives in the theater? You can take something as simple as anyone's day from the time they woke up to the time they come to school, especially in any setting, whether they're underprivileged or privileged, whatever setting a student comes from. You can create theater from the experience of just the single day that they're in a workshop with you, and have them create a story and then tell that story and populate it with the characters in their lives. And theater can be a wonderful teaching tool toward skills, English and history. Pick a story you like and dramatize it, act it out. Those creative ways are the best ways to bring it to anyone, no matter no matter whether there's it's an underprivileged program or anywhere. I think that's the best way to instill that passion in them.
Theater with a capital T. I love it so much, and I think that was a perfect way to end this. So we have a habit with these embrace sessions where at the end we ask everyone to turn on their camera, turn on their mic, and to please give a round of applause to Ben, to Barb from the Hippodrome, to Angela, to Leigh, to Ryan. So come on. Woo! Thank you again. Everyone should have received an email with an evaluation link. Please fill that out. Your feedback is very valuable to us. We always reference it when planning more professional development. Thank you all so much.